So here we have our mixture of salicylic acid and caffeine. We have 511 milligrams, so 0.511 grams of this mixture. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this into our Erlenmeyer flask. And this is where we're going to be doing our recrystallization. And so there we have it right in there. Now I'm gonna add about 45 milliliters of water. And as we saw last week, we know that salicylic acid is not very soluble in water. So I'm actually gonna see pretty much all of it just kind of floating and hanging about in solution. And I'm gonna go ahead and start heating this now. So again, that idea of recrystallization is that the solubility of a solid increases as the temperature increases. So I've got to take that paper towel away. You can see this nice, dirty, gross stir plate, right? Almost every stir plate in the world, I think, ends up looking about like this. And I'm going to add a boiling stick, which is really just a wooden stick here. And this makes sure that it doesn't boil over. So we're gonna let this heat up. I've set the stir plate to about 2/3 power. And we're gonna let this heat up and let all of this mixture dissolve. So now all of our mixture is completely dissolved into our water. We can see that the water is boiling. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this off the heat and I'm gonna remove the boiling stick. And just like last time, we're gonna watch and see what happens as this cools back down slowly to room temperature. We don't wanna cool this down too quickly. We wanna allow this to slowly cool back down to room temperature. So here we have our recrystallized product that's been filtered out of that solution, right? We can see some of those nice long spindly crystals. This almost looks like kind of a bird's nest of these crystals that were filtered out. So let's get a mass on this and we'll see how much we were able to recover, and we'll see if our recrystallization actually purified this mixture of salicylic acid and caffeine. So we're gonna get a mass and we're gonna weigh by difference here. That means that we first need to get a mass of just a whey boat. So here we can get a mass of our whey boat, and this is 641 milligrams. 641 milligrams, or 640 now that it's stabilized for just our whey boat. And let's see how much of this solid I can actually get out and we can measure to see what we've recollected. All right, so after I've gotten all of my recrystallized solid out of my, off my filter, I can see that now the mass is 980 milligrams. So your task is to figure out how much of this compound was re-isolated and what is our percent recovery. How much of the solid were we able to get back out of solution? So let's test it now and look at our TLC to see if this recrystallization actually worked. So here's our TLC plate for our recrystallization. And so we can see that before our recrystallization, we had two different spots that were contained in that sample, caffeine and salicylic acid. And after our recrystallization, we only have one. So our recrystallization was actually able to allow us, or enabled us to purify this mixture just by changing the solubility due to temperature. So again, beforehand, we had two compounds. Afterwards, we had one. That means we were able to purify our sample.